Good day, everybody. This is Doug, the Modeling Hermit, and I'm coming to you with a group build update on the Rust Bucket Group Build 2025. And this is a little 34 Ford that I actually got that was in this box with the other car, and it had been assembled at one time. The pieces were there. All I did was just cut out the bed of it there, and like that had been rusted away, and did some weathering, put the body together, did some weathering on it. I used Monroe Models weathering powder of dark rust and grimy black. I think I used a little bit of the Delta dirt on it too. I'm not sure, I can't remember on that. And then Tester's rust, flat rust, and a little flat black on it here and there. And that's basically about all I did. I did the flat rust down in that area there. I've got my lighting all set differently for working on this in different ways, so I can't tell right now whether my lighting is working for you or not. But anyway, yeah, so I did some wet resting down on the chassis and such. And then I worked on those ugly wheels, made them even worse if that was possible. And yeah, so that's about all I've done with that. Just made it, just look like it's been around for several years, sitting, basically rotting to pieces. And hi, I got a new puppy dog here coming to talk to me. So anyway, this is just all I've done so far. I'm going to get into the car. I'll do more on the car, a whole lot more detailing on that than I did on this. This is where it's going to go. It's going to have trees growing around it, a lot of shrubbery and stuff. And so it's going to be kind of buried, so I didn't get too carried away with it here. Plus, it had already been done. That's kind of knocks out the fun a little bit for me. I like to start out with a pretty much unbuilt kit and just do my own thing with it. But this was it was enjoyable. I mean, this was only maybe like 3 or 4 hours of work on this thing. Just, griming it up a little bit and then hitting it with the dull coat to hold everything in place, and that's it. So that's going to hold us for now, and then I'll fill you in on the rest later when it gets started on the body on that little 32 Ford, or 25 Ford. Why am I saying 32 when I'm looking at it, saying 25? But anyway, yeah, so when I get started on that, we'll fill in a little bit more on this. Okay, so now we're working on the 25T Roadster. I just went ahead and did the assembly. It almost snaps together. I mean, it goes together so easy. But some broken pieces on it, kind of fixed them a little bit. And yeah, so the engine was about 3 or 4 pieces to put it together. I did not worry about the front part of it there, the fan belt or anything like that. I just left that off. We've been swiped off it a long time ago. So put together the axle assemblies and such, but that's about it on that. The body, I cut out the wood portion that's going to be seen. I cut that out because that would have all been rotted long ago. And then this back section where the wood is at in there, that's covered with this. I didn't use I just used the Roadster body on this. So then tomorrow, when it's light out, it's middle of the night right now. So tomorrow when it's light out, I'm going to take this thing out to the paint booth, and I'm going to paint it with Rust-Oleum rust paint and rust primer actually. And then I'll bring it in and start doing the actual weathering on it. Well, we're out of the paint booth. I used regular Rust-Oleum. Actually, that's broken. I may or may not deal with that. Okay. So anyway, this is out of the paint booth. I just used Rust-Oleum's red primer on this. Gives a good rust-based color to work with. And I did that on both of these. This will be going into the junkyard diorama. My plans are it's going to be going in the riverbed overflow area. So this is going to be highly rusted and probably a lot of deterioration on it there. I've not decided just how far I'm going to go with this. It actually will tell me as I'm going along. As you can see, I've got the floorboard cut out because that would be long gone. And the underside, I left the floorboard in on the underside here because that's not going to be seen. Gives me a good brace for that. A little bit of strengthening for this body because there's going to be, this body's going to be pretty weak. I do have the dash in on it. I left that. I did not put the steering column in on it. I thought about doing that and decided, let's just go ahead and leave that out. So this is going to be the start of being highly rusted. After all, we are the Rust Bucket Group Build 2020-25, so we need to have something that is rusty for it. And this will be rusty. So yeah, so that's what we're doing with this thing here. I've got my little paper that I collect all my debris on here. And we're going to start weathering this thing. And I didn't worry about how well the dash fit there. That's probably where the windshield would go. I left the windshield frame off that too because that would have been long gone too. So we're going to get started on this, and I'll fill you in as I go along. And we'll see what happens. The engine, I've left it totally rusted too. And yeah, this is going to be full of weeds, maybe even some small trees. And my plans are where that bridge is in the diorama. And you'll see it as when I put this into the diorama part of it. I'm going to have this like it was shoved up against, it probably fell over the edge or something like that, and then it's been shoved up against the edge of the bridge. And so it's going to collect a lot of debris there and such. So, with that in mind, we're going to get started on this thing, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 34 Ford and what I did with it. Underside, I just kind of slathered some stuff on there. That's not going to really be seen. I just want to make sure that what is seen, has not bright and cheerful colors. The upper side here, on these areas like this, I just took this big, well, not big, but this old brush here, and I just kind of went in and pulled upwards on things because your most dirt is going to be down at the bottom. It's going to collect down there. So I pulled it upwards and just kind of dazzled that around, drifted around. I took my fan brush, and when on the top here, I would hit that like this, and I would move it as I'm hitting, so that I got different effects there. I did the same thing, and anything on the upper side, I would do that with. This back where the bed was at, see if I can get this right. I'm trying to get my lighting so that you can see. Okay, so that area there, I went ahead with the rust paint. I think that's it right there. Tester's light flat rust. So this right here, I took and I hit that with the flat rust on that, and then a couple places I would hit flat black, just to give extra colors. So, and then this was all painted silver to start with, and I kind of left some of that because it gives an effect there, but not enough that it looks like it's silver painted. And pardon me if you see little flecks of pink feathers floating around here. I cut some off of a dog's toy here a little while ago, and little pieces managed to get away. So if you see pink feathers, it's not Gypsy Rose Lee. It's just, parts of old dog toy. So anyway, yeah, so that's what I did on that. Again, on the sides here, I just kind of went in and just brushed those, doing the upward stroke, remembering that you want the darker color at the bottom, and just bringing those colors up. And that's and then the tires, I just went in those, and I actually used this grimy black. This is from Monroe Models. It actually comes in a rectangular tube, but it pops off, and it gets to be a pain, has tendency to break. So I put it into these round tubes with the screw-off lid. And we're going to be talking now about, I still got those feathers flying, I'm trying to get up my nose. Okay, if we can get past the Gypsy Rose Lee's feathers, we will talk about this car a little bit here. So now, I came in here again. Things I'm going to be using on this. Let's talk about those. I'll be using Tamiya Weathering Master. These are they're a chalk, but they're I don't know, they're a hard chalk. I don't know what they're really called or anything. But yeah. So anyway, this is a hard chalk, I guess I would call it. So on the colors I'll be using out of that, there's the rust and the soot and the orange rust, and where was the burnt red. Those are the colors that I'll be using out of that. So, and then we have also the light sand, mud, and sand. I won't be using those. There's burnt blue, oil stain. Oil stain, I might actually put a little bit of that onto the truck over there in a couple places, but I won't be using them on here. So like the burnt red, I'll be using that. Once again, orange rust, and then the rust here. Soot, very likely, unlikely rather, very unlikely. So those I'll be using. Now, I use Vallejo products quite extensively, actually, and this is their light rust wash. Okay, so now this is going to go on as a wash, and then I have some other colors that I'll be using. I have orange rust. Again, this is Vallejo. All of these are that I'm doing right now. I have light rust here. So I have an orange rust and a light rust. And we have a dark rust that I'll be using. And now, this one is going to shock you. I use bronze. Not extensively. Just for some effects here. I use the bronze especially in with the light rust. Or the light wash, rather. Light rust wash, I should say. So yeah, this is bronze, and I will touch that in a couple, three, very sparingly, but it does give some interesting effects, especially when you're using the wash with it. So be watching for me to use that. I don't like their brush that they supply with this. I did use a little bit of that just to give some upward and downward. Now this in here I actually did do a downward, so I did kind of like that on it. So, but very sparingly that I use this on here. And then, as you can see my finger, I take my finger and I go across there, and I go across it when I do that. So these, I go up and down, and then with my finger I go across. So that's what we're going to be doing on this. I've got to decide just exactly where I want my rust. I will not be using the flat rust on this one here. That I will not be using. Nothing like that. So the colors that I've shown you here, a couple others that I may actually bring in are, believe it or not, terracotta. That's a light color, and sometimes that's good for an effect. And then there's a dark gray. Instead of using the grimy black, I will use the dark gray sometimes. So those are an option colors that I'll be using. So those are the colors that you'll be seeing me use on this one. And like I said, I've taken this now and I've hit it with the primer to give it my first effects here and stuff. Coats everything so I don't have, pretty light black paint shining through or anything, like black plastic shining through. So with that, let's get going. All right, so I've got my wash on here. I use this light rust wash on it from Vallejo, and I kind of went over the whole car right now with it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm going to take a little bit of the dark rust here. I know it's about the same color as that, but I've got some areas that are still kind of just slightly wet from that wash, and I'm going to pull up. Remember, I'm going to dab in and pull up. I want the darkest to the bottom. I'm not going to put a whole lot on here. Dab in, pull up. Dab in, pull up on it. And you really can't tell anything yet. And then what I'm going to do is over that, this is where you got to be careful. I could use the grimy black, but instead I'm going to use the dark gray. I don't want to, that grimy black is going to overpower that too much. I just want a little bit. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to get a little bit of that dark gray on here. I got you off camera there, but I probably still have. Okay, go in and real gently pull up. Dab, gently pull up. And we're not looking for anything here, no definition or anything. We're just trying to just blend those two in. Knock that off a little bit there. Now I'm going to come back to the back side here, and I'm going to try and do the same thing. Notice I'm going up on it. The tendency people want to think of is to go down with their streaks. But what I'm trying to do is that you have all your dirt and everything accumulates into little notches like this right here. So I'm going to pull up from there. Now I'm going to go down like this here a little bit, but I'm going to go in like that. Then I'm going to pull back up, catching all that. Now what that does is nature, rain, everything comes, hits that and pulls it down. Now if this is on the road, it would be streaked back this way. But in nature, with it just sitting, the water's going to come down and it's going to collect into places like this, and it's going to collect into places like that. So I have to think about that as to where do I want that at? Where do I want my accumulation at? And where do I want my streaks at then? So we're going to do that on that side there, and I'm only doing the sides on this now. Okay? Only doing the sides. Brush off my excess, get into that hole and pull up. Jam in, pull up. Pull that down a little bit so I got that to work with. Now don't worry about that. These have a tendency that every once in a while there's some little white in there that doesn't get blended in well. That's okay. It's not hurting anything. So I'm going to go up like that. I'm going to pull out like this here on that. And I'm just going to leave that little white spot that was in there. This camera, angle. There, how's that? Is that better? I keep forgetting that when the model's down here, I'm trying to show it to you then when I'm working on it, I'm up here. So anyway, what I was doing there is I was pulling in, jamming in here, and pulling up. Jam in, pull up. Jam in, pull up, and then pull this down that was in there so that you get some of the clot there. Pull that back up and then out. So up and out. And there was a little white fleck that didn't get mixed in good that was there. Don't worry about that. I mean, nature happens. That's probably a bird dropping. Okay? So now I don't want gray for my next project here. I actually want a very light rust. So we're going to go with very light rust on this. Same thing. I'm still using that. So I've got... trying to do this so that you can... So I've got my Monroe Models light rust that I'm using. I'm going to pull that back over so I don't... So have I got you? Yeah, I've got you. And I'm going to jam in. Jam in, pull up. And then lightly on the sides. Lightly on the sides. Now notice I put plenty on here so I can come over and I can collect this. It's not going to take much. We're going to do the same thing back here. Alright. Same thing back here. It's actually... Okay, so I'm going to need a little bit more back here. I'm going to hit there. I'm going to hit there. Now notice I'm pulling down here now. Because our rain is coming down and then... See there's a little lip there for the trunk? That's going to collect on that. Another one right there. It's going to collect on that. Now back here I pull up. And then I pull back up again. And pull up on the back of the body. Now I want this a little bit lighter here than I had this here. And I'm going to do the tops of the fenders the same way. Gently across the tops of the fenders. I want my tops to be just a little bit lighter than the sides here. But still I've got places where I've got some dark stuff going on too. So see how that's darkened right there? Right there, that's dark, and then we're just going to take this light and accent it here. I want just like that there, and then a little bit right there. So this is actually a multi-stage thing that I'm doing. Right there, a little bit right there. Right there. And it doesn't hurt to take and get a little bit of that and go right over where you went here before. Pull up. Why not? Come in. Right there. It's hard for me to tell where I've got yet. I've got the camera right in front of me here. And I'm trying to work on this and see where I've got you at. Oh, now see, now that's nice. That's nice. That's just, oh, I like that. I really like that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm gonna pull that. I'm gonna grab that and pull it, and I'm gonna try and get some right there. Pull that. Oh yeah. Oh, that's looking tight. That is looking tight. I was gonna do some more to this. You know what? I'm really liking what I've got. Let me go inside now. We're going to work inside of it. So right there, we're still using the same light rust. Same light rust. We're in the inside and we're pulling up. Remember, we're pulling up on it. Jam, pull up. Jam, pull up. That's what we're doing. Grab that there, a little bit down in there. We don't know what's going on there. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. Oh, I like that. Now, I want some, let's use the dark rust this time. And I want to get a good amount of it right in there. And then I'm going to pull up again on that couple places there yet. I don't want to pull up. I'm going to go actually into the inside. Chish, I got you way off camera. So I'm going to go into there. So what I was doing, I grabbed some right here, right in there, And then I pulled a little bit more up on these sides here, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with a goodly amount. Where you at? There you go. Back in here and in there. You know, I've got to get let's see if I can get my lighting any better here. It couldn't be much worse, I don't think. I don't think it could be much worse. So, we shall see here. Let's try that. Let's try that. Is that any better for you at all? So, okay, so what we've been doing was been working with a fan brush. Basically, almost this whole thing has been a fan brush on this and here. And we jab in to sections here and we pull up. Now this, I just went with a circular on the fan brush. And then I did the same, pull up here again. The dash, I just touched on that. So this, I'm just really, I know this is not much to show you, but I'm liking what I've got here really well. I really like it. Now, this is the fun part. You remember playing in school? You go in with your fingers and you go across. Don't go hard. Don't go hard. You're going to ruin the effect. But you're just taking with fingers and you're kind of smoothing out the brush strokes. Just like that there. That's all we did. Just smoothed out the brush strokes. So, yep. And there we are. Now you got a nice pretty finger then, see? Nice pretty finger. I just like that. I'm going to leave that. I know that's not much to show you, but yeah. Okay, so now the engine. We're going to leave the fan brush. We're coming back to this brush here. And we're going to go in and we're going to get down into that engine in there. Down into the engine. And we're still with the dark rust on this. We're using that. We're going to see what that does. Not much. Let's go with, what do I want on that? I think I want the Delta Dirt. Let's try some Delta Dirt. We're just going to try this, and I'm doing this one area on the engine that's not going to show up a lot. And I'm just trying some different, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted, Delta Dirt. Delta Dirt picks it up without losing the rust color. So we're going to go on top here too. So now this engine will be showing. When this car is done, it will be showing like this here. So okay. So what we're doing, I'm back with you again now. I was just doing a little practice. So we're taking, this is Monroe Models Delta Dirt. We're going in, getting a good amount on our brush, and we're going into the sides of the engine here and different engine areas. And we're laying in some Delta Dirt on that. That's just a really great accenting. It looks dirty and it helps to accent. So now we have to remember too, in this work, see what that's doing there? How that just highlights everything. The one thing to remember on this is just about everything. This little bit back here will not be showing from the top, but everything else is going to be showing because it's all open. Everything back to about right there, as you can see, is going to be showing. So we've got to work with that. Now we had a broken arm here that we've got to be careful of. So we're going to go in and we're going to catch some of this right here. Yeah, that muffler would have been long gone, but we're still going to leave it on there. Now I should have taken my motor tool and gone in and done a whole bunch of metal removal basically on this thing, where rust would have been over the years. This thing's going to be sitting in water, or where overflow area, flood area. So a lot of that metal would have been long gone, but I didn't have the heart to do that. This is a original kit from the 1960s, and I'm trying to leave it to, getting to be an old guy. Someday somebody's going to find my collection, and they're going to want to do something with it there. And so I'm trying, on this and here especially, I'm leaving it. Actually, I think this has been re-released here, if I'm not mistaken. So it's probably not a big deal, but I'm trying to leave it so if somebody wants to do a restoration on it, they can. Be kind of a fun thing. Take an old model like this and doing a restoration on it. So anyway, that's Delta Dirt. That's the beginning. In the beginning, there was Delta Dirt. And in the end, there was Grimy Black. So we're now to Monroe Models Grimy Black. I'm hoping that I've got this so that you guys can follow along and see it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do some different areas of it. Now the nice thing about putting this primer coat on here to start with is, you don't want the whole works. You want just touching here and there with that. So this is the Grimy Black. You just want to touch a few areas with it. Okay, but the nice thing about this coating it with the paint to start with, Rust-Oleum paint, is that it gives you a good flat surface to work from. A glossy surface, this stuff just flows off of. So you want this nice surface here. Nice surface to work with here. And don't worry about, if some places got more dark than another place. You want that. You want that. So now notice I'm not getting carried away with this black. And I'm just kind of touching things. And I'm hoping you're noticing it. It's hard for me to tell whether I've got you on camera or not here. So editing is going to be interesting. Editing will be interesting. Where is my people? And I keep bumping the camera too. Because the camera is right there. Right where I'm touching. That's where I have to have it at for you. Okay, so Grimy Black on that. Now I like this rusty brown. I'm going to try it, but I'm actually, let's try this terracotta. I want to try that in a couple places. Now this is not something I'm going to extensively use, okay? Yeah, terracotta will not be extensively used. I'm going to come in with this brush here. Okay, so I've got a different brush now. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to go in to places like that and like that. Not a lot. I just want a couple of 3 places to stand out just a little bit. So now see that? Just enough to kind of touch that up a little bit. A couple of 3 places here. And I'm not going to use that a lot. I just wanted just those couple places. They're going to be to the side and they're going to be hard to see. So now we come in with the light rust. And we're back to the regular brush we were using before. And we're going to highlight different areas here. A little bit too much on that. And we're doing things on top again now. With the light rust, we're going on top again. Didn't get enough on that one. Okay. Alright, do I have it on? Yeah, I think I got you on camera. Oh, editing is going to be interesting here. Do I have them on camera or not? So, now the nice thing about this stuff here is if I don't have you on camera, I suppose, in the extreme is I can go in, put this in the sink and wash everything off, dry it off, come back out, do it again, make sure I got you on camera. Okay, now, that was it. I'm actually going to be doing a couple, 3 different cars for this build off here, or this group build rather. because this in here is just so simple. I mean, this is like between the two cars, maybe 3-4 hours at the very most between both cars. I mean, this is only the second day I've been working on this, and we're same as done, really. There's just not that much more to do on this thing. That chassis really, it suits me just fine with just the way it is. I don't think I was going to do some other things with it here, but I'm liking it. I like what I've got. I'm going to check like I said, I'm going to go through my editing process, see where I'm at on this thing, and if everything, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing, then I'm going to just go ahead and hit this with a dull coat to hold everything on here. If not, I'll start all over if I have to. I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So, yeah. So that's just about it. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm not worried about that last little bit of an area right there. That's not going to really be showing. So I guess this will, a little bit back here will be. So let's take just what we've got on here, and let's just do that right there. Okay. All I did was I had gotten the lights that you can see, but I just took and just the stuff that fell on here and just coated that little bit, because that's going, when this goes on here, that's going to show back there a little bit. Let's see. So that's it. That's it for rusting that thing. I mean, that was all there was to it. And look at my nice pretty fingers. I got them all dirty. I got my fingers all dirty. I don't take and wipe this down or anything with the fingers. I want this just the way it is. So yeah, that little bit of terracotta that goes in to the side of the engine there, and then a little heavier onto this side here to accent that. And then the other colors used were the let me put this back, light rust, delta dirt, and the grimy black, and that was basically what we used on this thing. And with that, we have the finished model. Let's see if I can get, hopefully that's got you on there now. So yeah, with that, we got the finished model then. And like I say, I'll do my editing. If everything looks good, all I'm going to do is just glue this body back together, and well, actually hit it with a dull coat, everything with dull coat first, and glue it back together. And yeah, so with that in mind, let's do the bottom of the body. I can't believe here I am telling everybody that I'm all done, and I have got the whole bottom of the body that I haven't done. It's not going to be seen much. Actually, it may be seen some, because where I'm going to have this at, there's a bridge that's going to go across like that there, and this car's going to be up against the bridge, and I may have it as an angle because it's supposed to have been washed up. It's in a little flood area, overflow area, and so it may have been washed up. So now I'm back to, what am I? I'm grimy black, yeah, grimy black, and I'm just pulling this underside here. I'm not really worried a whole lot about it. I'm not worried about which direction I'm going here, because like I said, this is underside. A little bit here probably coming down, because that can be seen. That can be seen pretty good. So we are gonna, man, I wish I could get my lighting so that you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Lighting is just terrible right now. Okay, so that's good enough there. Just coming in like this here, and I'm just, this here I'll pull down. I'm not worried about pulling up or down on this. It's not going to be seen that much. And kind of backwards both ways on that. You're just coating that in. That's all we're doing on that. Okay. So try and get my lines a little bit there where you're going to be able to actually see. We want the lines so that you can tell that they are going the right way for being rained on. Okay. And yeah, all I'm going to do on the bottom of this in here, like I said, this is not going to really be seen. So I'm not going to get that carried away with it here. I've got a little bit extra on my brush here. Let's take it, just go down. Let's grab some of this off the thing here. And let's go down into some of these depths. So what I'm doing, this is just the extra that overflowed when I was putting this on. And I'm just taking some of that and I'm going down into some of these holes in here, cavities, I guess you call them. And I'm just kind of filling those a little bit. I want to make some things just kind of, actually some of this just, I want it to just disappear. So, okay, and see, that's good. All I did is take a little bit of that dark stuff and go down in the hole in there and the hole in there. So, that's it. That's what I'm going to do with it. That's what I'm doing with this right there. And hit this firewall here a little bit too more. Kind of glossed over that earlier. It was something I was doing some testing on with my stuff on. Okay, so there. Okay, that's it. That's it. We are good. We are good. Okay, that's it. That's what we're doing with this thing. We're going to set it together so you guys can see what it's going to look like in the end result. Let's get the camera up, I guess, on that. And that's it. That's what it's going to look like through there. And the body. So that you got, because rust is not a solid color. Rust is all kinds of different colors and textures and all kinds of different things going on. I love watching all the videos of people working on different rust projects and such, and what they do with them. It's just phenomenal what they're able to do with these things, and the different ways that they make, the same thing look good. Some people will spend hours with them. Some people are like me, and now the next model I do, I may spend hours with. But this in here, this is just what I needed for what I'm doing here. So, and so I may do another model for this project here. I really enjoy these things, and I've got a lot of junkyard. My junkyard is 4 foot wide by 8 and 8 is 16 feet long. So 4 feet wide by 16 feet long. That's a lot of space to put a lot of cars into. And part of it is a waterfall, 2 waterfalls with a river that's got actual running water in it that my daughter did. And there's an overflow area where floodwaters would go to. And that's where this is going to be parked into. And like it's been there for years and years, and then water pushing it around, shoving it up against a bridge. That's my plans. And then it'll have like trees and stuff like that growing up through it, bushes and all kinds of debris like that, rocks shoved around on it, stuff. It would not be this, in reality, it would not be in this good a shape, everything would be at least dented up, banged up, holes in it, and everything else. I didn't want to get into that for right now on this one here. I've got that for other projects. So, with that in mind, we're going to go in and we're going to put this onto the photo editor or the video editor, and we're going to see whether I have to start all over again or whether we've got a good project for you here. So, until we meet again, I'll show you the end of this. We're going to take a break here. Okay, so now this is the little 25 Ford Model T, and this is approximately where I'm going to be placing it. This is the bridge that I'm talking about, and then the overflow area for the river that is on this side of things. So anyway, that is the little 25 Ford Model T that we just got through working on. And that's approximately where I'm going to be placing it. And pretty much about the position that it's going to be in too. And then the 34 Ford is way up here. And we're going to take a break from it for a second. So now on the upper side of the junkyard, this is the upper section here. And some cars that have added in there. And there's a little platform, who knows what was there at any time. And then this is about where I'm going to be placing that 34 Ford pickup. Is right about there. And that's my plans anyway at this moment. So this is how those two cars that we've been working on, that's how they're going to fit in. And then like I say, here is the river itself. The waterfall's over behind it. Then the river itself. And then this is the overflow area. And the little 25 Ford Model T where it's going to be placed at. And then this is the bridge itself. And then that goes on over to the other section of the junkyard. So anyway, that is how this all fits in together. And I thank Mars for putting on this community build and giving me a chance to get going on a couple of, actually these are stalled projects. I was going to work on these quite a while back, like about last year. And because of this little project he's doing, I actually got going on these and now have them placed. And like I said, there's no water in the river right now because I haven't run it for a long time yet. But that's where it's going to go. So thank you, Mars. And this is Doug, the Modeling Hermit. And I'm off the air and I am gone.